you're fresh in the market and you don't have guidance, today's video will help you a lot. Hi there, welcome to my channel, The Brand Contact. My name is Omi Odike and here I like to teach business owners and content creators how to grow online, increase your following, increase your sales and productivity, and reach more markets. Today I'm taking things a little bit different. I want to speak to anybody in the creative industry or particularly a service providing industry and you don't know if you need to stand alone or work for a company. Today's video will help you a lot. Some days back, the CEO of Ebony Live, Nwaubudu, put out a statement about the movie she made, Olotore, and published on Netflix, and the person who wrote the movie. So there's been some legal squabbles between her and a lady called Tobere who claims to own the movie. You know what? We'll listen to Nwaubudu and we'll just figure out all the lessons we can learn as creative people or business owners or like young people who provide services. What can we learn from this official statement? You will learn a lot. If you know anybody who is in the creative industry, a business owner, a young person who is about to start his career, please tag the person to this video. I'll be telling you my own story as well, where I started from as a creative person and why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Listen to this video.
Hello and Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Nwaubudu. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Ebony Life Media and Ebony Life Place. I would like to take a few minutes of your time today to shed some light on the recent allegations made by the investigative reporter Tobore Ovore. Tobore wrote the article titled Inside Nigeria's Ruthless Human Trafficking Mafia, which was published on August 12, 2014 by the Premium Times, her employer at the time. Premium Times Services Limited, publishers of Premium Times, has disclosed that journalist Tobore Ovore cannot lay claim to the copyright over the investigative report, which belongs to them. According to the Premium Times editor-in-chief, Mr. Mujid, only the media company and its partner on that project, Zam Chronicles, can lay claim to the copyright for the report based on Nigeria's copyright law. We sought and obtained the rights from Premium Times, the owners of the story. As such, we fulfilled our legal obligation and do not take kindly to suggestions stating otherwise. This is how our industry works. We dare not make a film without acquiring the rights. Although I have addressed our legal obligations, which were fully met, there are also moral issues to be dealt with in a case like this. So in May 2019, 20 months before the launch of Olutore on Netflix, we reached out to Tobore to acknowledge her journalistic achievement, to commend, recognize, and encourage her in her ongoing campaign against sex trafficking and that of her NGO. We granted Tobore a private screening of the movie, gave her a special mention in the end credits of Olutore, and I interviewed her on Moments with Mo. In addition, we wrote to her and offered her 5% of the proceeds from our planned cinema run to go towards her NGO, which she acknowledged. We also reached out to other NGOs to pledge proceeds from our cinema run, as Olutore was never created as a commercial film. We felt that it was an important film to make, and several kind donors helped us to raise the money to make it. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the cinema release of Olutore never happened. Instead, we decided to partner with Netflix, and the film was released on the 2nd of October 2020. Only a day after our release on Netflix, I got a phone call from a reporter, Kiki Modi, who said she had been in touch with Tobore. Here is part of her subsequent email. I'm reaching out to you today because various similarities have been flagged between a 2014 investigative report featured in Premium Times and the film, and I want to include that in my report. My report is due to be out today. Apologies for the short timing. I'm hoping to clarify some facts from you and hopefully get your comments. We decided to respond, although we didn't have to. That article is available online. Within a few days of this, Tobore went on social media making accusations. Then she wrote to Netflix making demands. Then she launched an attack against Kenneth Inyang. I feel particularly bad for Kenneth because he had never seen the script until we approached him to direct the film. He's such a passionate filmmaker, but he's had to deal with daily and weekly harassment from Tobore. Then on the 4th of November 2020, a month after the movie was launched on Netflix, we got a letter from Tobore's lawyers accusing us of copyright infringement and demanding $5 million in compensation, which is it's about 2.5 billion naira. At this point, our in-house lawyer advised that we needed to engage external legal counsel, which we did. We were being accused of the crime of copyright infringement with a 2.5 billion naira demand. We knew we had not infringed on her copyright because Premium Times owns the copyright and we had settled this with them. Secondly, we did not have 2.5 billion naira to give. In an attempt to understand what her demands were based on, our lawyers began meeting with hers. Unfortunately, that process has stalled because her lawyer has disengaged from her. Recently, Tubore started contacting our producers by WhatsApp and sending them horrid messages. To me, Tubore's demands have become threatening, blackmailing, and extortionist in nature, and I do not respond to such methods. At this point, we decided that if she felt she had a legal case, it could be better dealt with through the proper legal channels. Prior to the release of the film on Netflix, I had a good relationship with Tubore. I had interviewed her, I had met with her, I had even given her cash gifts for her welfare, as well as when her father died, something that I have never disclosed till now. On the 5th of July 2020, I received this message from her. Good evening, Ma. How are you, work, and the family? I hope you are well. Please remember my family and I in your prayers. My father went to be with the Lord on Friday, July 3rd, 2020. It's been a very difficult period for me. My dad and God was all I had. But now I'm left alone to myself. Thanks, Ma, Tubore. On the 14th of July 2020, I received this message from her. Good morning, Ma. Thanks so much for the money sent to me. I greatly appreciate your care and support. God bless you. I'm so grateful. I will keep you updated. So we had a relationship. She even sent me a message on my birthday in September 2020. And then, a few days before the release on Netflix, I sent her a text message. Hi dear, it's strictly on just Netflix, no cinema due to COVID. I promised you a cash gift towards your foundation, and I will still make it happen even though we did not have a cinema release. Get everyone to watch on Netflix. This was her reply. Okay, Ma, I'll look at how to get them to watch on Netflix. Most of them are not online and can't afford being on Netflix, but I'll get around it. Congrats, Ma. By the 3rd of October 2020, a day after the launch on Netflix, I couldn't reach Tubore. I sent her a text message saying, Tubore, my dear, trust you're well, I'm trying to reach you. Everything changed after the growing popularity of the film on Netflix. I have said this time and time again, but let me state it again for the record. Olutorí is a story inspired by true events involving the work of scriptwriters, the development of characters, locations, situations and occurrences that were created by our writers. There was no Alero, Chooks, Linda, or Blessing in Tubore's newspaper report. Her boss was never in love with her, one of the several parts of the film that was created by our writers. Certain incidents in Olutorí are similar to what happened to Tubore, and this is why she was given credit and why Premium Times was given credit. However, Olutorí could never be Tubore's life story, as she has claimed. Indeed, so many women from around the world are trafficked to Italy, have similar stories. Please, let's educate ourselves on how the movie industry works and how stories are developed and what inspires them. Olutorí was made by a team of over 100 people, including researchers, writers, producers, our director, editors, actors, and crew. NAPTIP, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, supported us with research, locations, and vehicles. One of our producers, James Amuta, had recently made an award-winning documentary called Nightfall in Lagos, which was all about prostitution. We brought him in on this project because of his experience. What Tubore experienced is what hundreds of thousands of women and girls experience around the world. The stats on human trafficking are horrendous, and we made this movie to shed light on this horrid trade. Earnings are estimated at 150 billion globally. 2/3 of this figure, about 100 billion, is generated from commercial sexual exploitation. The average woman trafficked for forced exploitation generates about $100,000 in annual profits. If there is one thing that I stand for, it is integrity. It's about working hard and always standing up for what I believe in. My entire team know me. Many of you out there know me. We do what we do because we love what we do. We have not exploited Tobore or anyone else, and we will not be exploited by anyone. The facts are clear. We have everything in writing, and we are prepared to defend ourselves against baseless attacks and legal challenges. We will not be intimidated because of the imagined financial success of this film, Olutore. However, our door is always open to have a conversation that is appropriate and right, which is how we began our relationship with Tobore. Anything else will be refuted and rebuffed, and if necessary, settled in a court of law.
Okay, now the first thing I would say is I am not a lawyer. I don't understand a lot of legal, aspects or sides to this case. I'm going to talk from a creative angle. I'm knowledgeable. I've worked for companies in different industries and I've worked for several years. I'm going to advise any up and coming creative person or a service providing individual who is starting up. So two things here. You benefit more if you're independent. And I know that being independent comes with a lot of stress. Long hours of work. Like, you're going to put in your time and energy to grow. You're going to have to take money from angles. You need support system to grow. It is really stressful. But on your long run, it pays you because you own all the rights to your content. You can also sell it to who you want to sell it to at whatever price. And again, you have the freedom of being yourself. Nobody's going to tell you sound this way, cut this one off. You can tell your story how you want to tell it. Now that is the perks and cons of working independently. Also, you can either work for somebody, work under a company who's establishing what you want to do and just putting your service and your knowledge and your skill for the company. Yeah, but know that whatever you produce, put out under the company owns everything. You get, you're working for them, you signed a letter. I'm sure in that letter, which some people don't even read, there are some caveat that says that whatever you produce for them, they own it. Do you understand? Now, what I would advise a young person is, when you just leave school and you're trying to start up, get a job with an established company, because you're going to first of all get knowledge. You're a creative person, yeah, but there are a lot of things that you're going to acquire from the company, right, that you would never have learned on your own. There are a lot of things that I know how to do right now because I work for my boss and I saw him work and grind and things, so I learned from that. That's one. Two, there are a lot of burdens that you don't have to bear. All you just do is create the content and give them, do you understand? And they have to run with everything they want to run. So I would advise, start working for an established company for like a year or 2 years or 3 years, or as long as you have learned what you want to learn. Know that you're going into the company to get experience, get knowledge, see how it's being done, and jump on your own. Independent working, doing your own thing, is not for the feeble-minded people at all. It will burn you no matter what level. And the sooner you start, the better. Because even if you start now or you start years later, you will still get burnt, right? Get the burns early and start to grow. But understand that whatever you create under a company, the company owns it because you created it under them. The first paragraph of what Mabudu just said just made us understand that, well, the Tobore girl, and I haven't spoken to Tobore, I don't know her side of the story, but based on what I just heard right now, Premium Times is saying that she has no claims over it or on that project because she published it under them. Now, what I would advise you, if you're working for a company but you have more things to give, is to start your own platform. When I was younger, after university, I started to work for someone in the entertainment industry, and I created a voice note for him, voiceover perfect for him. Until date, he uses it to introduce his videos. But I cannot go and say, oh, pay me my money, because I was working for him when I created the voice notes, or the voiceover rather, and I was paid my salary. So legally, it is his product, it is his property. Do you understand? It's not my property. I was doing it based on, I was working for him, I was under his company. Do you get? Secondly, there was a time, because I had to handle, I was his PA, I was anchor, his red carpet anchor, also his social media handler, guys. It was a lot, but I learned. Imagine, how old was I? After university, I was someone in the entertainment industry's PA his anchor. That's how I started to, you know, begin my host talking, red carpet speaking. Now look at me, I run a whole media company. I'm doing good, you get me? So I was also a social media handler. His Twitter page was not moving. I was like, okay, what do I do to help, like, to just increase engagement? And I had an idea, because I'm a creative person, I think, right? So I implement the idea, and where he was just seeing that his Twitter page just started to get engagements, likes, you know, retweets, replies. He came back home and he was like, what? And bear in mind, this idea came from me, but he took it all, he started to create structures. As soon as he started to, the way I was like, this was not what I thought about the idea. I didn't even mean to brag. When I left it to him, it did not work anymore. I left it for him because I was under his company. It was what he wanted that I did. Do you understand? If you're working for an organization, please, before you even start working, read your employment letter, see the terms, see the conditions, ask yourself, are you comfortable with this thing? If you are, then stay there. And if you're working for an organization as well, and you know that you have more to give, start your own channel. Post on your Facebook, post on your Instagram, post on your YouTube page. Put yourself out there, because the fact that you work for a company does not mean that you don't have your own, like, life. But make sure that your time does not infringe, like when you post your content, does not infringe on their time. 1 and 2, make sure they're comfortable with it. 3, make sure that you don't put the same kind of content that they put. And if maybe your boss comes and says, I think I like what you're doing, he talks to you, maybe you can now say, okay, you know what, if you want me to put this on your platform, let us try to renegotiate our salary. But just don't go laying claims to something that you did. And I understand, because imagine if you're working for me now and you're just starting. If you post whatever you want to post on my blog, your post or your write-up will get more exposure, more likes, because I'm already established, compared to you who are just really starting up, right? So you rather post it for me if you're working for me, because you will get more exposure than to post it on your page that will not even get any like or exposure or that. I understand, but you have to ask yourself, what do you want to achieve? At some point, I left the entertainment industry and went fully into finance. And while I was in finance, I opened my blog. I was writing stories. But see, guess what? It was because of my writing that they brought me to handle a project. I was not qualified to handle the project at all. But because they saw that this girl could express herself well, she could write, she was creative, they put me on the project to literally like man the project. So you see how that aspect of my life that I was already doing, when they were having a meeting, who will we put to man the project? My MD said, Omi, right, she's pretty good with her writing, let's call her in. Do you understand? The stories I was writing had nothing to do with finance, and it did not affect my job whatsoever. I was still delivering on my job. I would make sure I only write at night when I'm not in their office. It had nothing to do with their content. You get what I'm saying? So make sure that whatever you're creating, like whatever you're doing on your own, does not connect to what your employer is doing, like their content, their service, but just put yourself out there and go step by step. One other benefit of working for yourself is that, take me for example now. I have a media company. I discuss the topics I want to discuss. I sound the way I want to sound. I look the way I want to look. I control everything, and I understand that I'm growing, right? So I'm not going to stay here and look and say, oh, if I were working for this person. No, I understand my journey and I'm growing. Yeah. So if you believe in yourself, well, you know that your gift is going to make room for you. Yeah, work, get experience, get knowledge, but make sure you branch out as soon as possible. And once you leave and you're on your own, it will be tough. I know. I had days where I was tired, I was frustrated. I gave up on my dream like 101 times. I will give up today, tomorrow I'll come back. I'll give up today, tomorrow I'll come back. That's the way to go. Give up but keep pushing it. Understand that, you will keep growing. And when you grow and when you do it for a while, you realize that there are a lot of opportunities and avenues for you to make money. You get me? Mwabudu, Ebony Live TV started from somewhere. In fact, Ebony Live was not even a TV at some point. In fact, it was just Ebony Live show. I know when she began. I think it was on MITV then. She grew to owning a TV station. She has Ebony Live Place. She has cinema. You know, we're all like starting from somewhere. If you don't have the zeal, the power to start on your own, please work for somebody. But don't go trying to claim what you produced under them. Do your job. Whatever you want to do based on you love this company, this is what you think will help them grow. put it, but don't put it with the mind of claiming it later. Your content, your service, whatever it is that you put out can grow a long way. The product that I helped my finance company launch, like, as in, I literally did everything from start to finish, from writing proposals, going for interviews. I did everything, but I cannot come today now and claim it and say, well, give me. No, I did it under the company. It's their product. I just help them to manage. Do you understand? If you're working for somebody, realize that whatever you do under the company's name is the company's content, the company's property, it's not yours. However, remember, I am not a legal person, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe some lawyers will know, nitty-gritty, I don't know, but advising you as a young creative person. And if you know anyone who is young in that space, please show them this video. Let them come and see and learn. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please tell me. Don't forget to ask me questions on branding, social media communication, and your business. How can you grow and make more sales? I'm here to answer your questions for you in an upcoming video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.